Hi, I'm Michaela, and I'm going to be reading the Lorax today. At the far end of town, where the cricket grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except for old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the crinkled grass, some people say if you look deep enough you can see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there, and why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler lives there. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler, don't knock at his door. He stays in the lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in the lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffle moof. In the special dank midnight in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of the rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss a 15 cents and a nail, in the shell of a great-great-grandfather snail. And then he pulls at the pail, makes most of the careful count, to see if you paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his swoop, his secret strange hole in his griverous glove. And then he grunts, I will call you by a whisper, my phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slip down the slope of the whisper, my phone, to your car, to the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear. Since they have to come down through the sniggly hose, he sounds as if he had a smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the day when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet, the clouds were still clean. The song of the swoomy swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious pace. I first saw this tree, the truffle of trees, the bright covered troughs in the truffle of trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown baboos frisking about in their baba suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffle of fruits. From the rippleless ponds came a comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, oh, those trees, those truffle of trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts are much softer than silk, and they were sweet. They smell like fresh butterfly milk. I felt great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart in no time at all. I'd built a small shop, and then I chopped down a truffle tree with one chop, and one grateful skill, with a great speedy I looked soft drop, and I knitted a thread.
The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him. That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, What's that thing you made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I am quite useful. This thing is a need. A need to find something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that full need. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for at that minute a chap came along, saw that the need I needed was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax, you poor stupid guy. You can never tell what people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up if you please. I rushed across the room in no time at all. Built a radiophone. I put in a quick call. I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here, a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp at South Stitch. In no time at all, in the factory I built, the Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting needs, just as busy as bee, as the sound of the chopping of the fula trees. Then, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 trees at one smacker. We were making sneeze 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore.
But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffle fruits. Now thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffle fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Go luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered my loads.
Of the needs I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north, and I went right on biggering, selling more needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old Noazic Lorax came back with more grips. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffed, he sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled and he sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a crumpleless croak, Onceler, you're making such a smoggleless smoke. My poor swomy swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in their throat. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have a fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, let me say a few words about the gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup and sloppity-slop. What would you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. You're glumping the pond here where the humming fish hummed. No more can say they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary, in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yappity yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend on doing just what I do. And for your information, you, Lorax, I'm biggering on biggering, and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffle trees into needs, which everyone needs. And at that very moment we heard a loud whack. From outside of the fields came a snickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then, when we heard the tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left, neath the bad-smelling sky, was my big, empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, backward glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself up and took leave of this place. Through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the words of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole lot more, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. Here, let something fall. It's a trefoil seed. It's the last one of them all. You're in charge of the last trefoil seeds, and the trefoil trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new trefoil, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from the axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back.